Welcome back to Closing Bell. West Africa. And Axxela has made its debut market entry with the listing of its 11.5 billion Series 1 bond on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. The corporate bond issuance is the first of its kind in Nigeria's midstream space, and the CEO of Axxela, Bolaji Osunsanya, joins me now from Lagos to share the details of this transaction. Thank you so much for your time today. And I'd like you to talk about, what this bond listing means for Axxela and what you plan to use the proceeds for.
Well, thank you very much, Kenneth. The bond proceeds is a 50 billion program, so it's our first series. The intention is to put them to our growth projects, and those growth projects will be in 5 big flanks. One, to expand our existing grids. Secondly, will be to get into the virtual pipeline space, where we can do mini LNG and FSRU solutions for our customers. Third will be for our regional expansion. We did. The program was already set, but it was a big decision to still come out given what was going on and the general levels of activity. But I think it was a resounding confidence in our company and in what we do, and the relevance and impact of what we do to the larger economy and for development. So despite the pandemic and the lack of activity, the confidence levels were quite high, and we thank our advisors for also prompting that we did it at the time we did.
But are there any plans to come back to the market as you look into your expansion plans?
Soon enough. I mean, like I said, it's a 50 billion program, so this is our first series, and being a debut, we try to keep them to the immediate requirements. But as you know, we're in the infrastructure space. The capital markets is the appropriate financing for what we do. So our return will be certain and it will be regular.
All right, now let's talk about the expansion of your Southwest pipeline network, the one that is ongoing now, and also how projects like this can also help unlock economic growth in a time like this, where Nigeria is looking for areas for spots of growth.
No, I mean, our experience in the last 2 places where we've done this has been quite great. I mean, our grid in Lagos and our grid in Port Harcourt have grown, and the impact on the economic development of those states has been tremendous. So we're very excited at our expansion into the Shagamu-Benin axis, which cuts across most parts of Ogun State. It's like the fastest growing industrial cluster in the country today. And we're pleased that we're able to connect customers all the way from Shagamu all the way to J4 in Ogun State. Industrialization does a lot for any territory, any company, or any economy. It's clear that Ogun State will be a big beneficiary, and we already see a lot of drive and movements of industries, even from the already saturated clusters in Lagos and Ibadan towards that axis already.
All right, now listing this bond on both the NSE and FMDQ. I saw you were at the NSE yesterday doing the gong ringing ceremony. How do you think the depth, the opportunities that are available in the capital markets for growth?
Well, like I said, I mean, the capital market is the more appropriate market. And when I say capital markets, both local and international, are the more appropriate markets for the business we do. They help us match the tenors, they help us with the right and appropriate costs. rates. So it's the ideal market for infrastructure plays generally. We're excited because a lot of things are now happening in the capital markets that just creates excitement for us. The PFAs, for instance, getting into the infrastructure space. We've seen even families and HNIs coming into that space. We've seen social and welfare families also coming into the space. So there's a lot more happening. The asset management companies of banks and financial institutions are also looking that way. So it's becoming more active, and I think it's a good sign for things to come.
No doubt the oil and gas sector is one of the hardest hit by the COVID-19 pandemic, but I'd like you to speak to the role the private sector players like yourself can play in the fight against COVID-19 and what Axxela has been up to.
Well, for us, I mean, we consider ourselves an essential player. And I say essential player because even during the pandemic, we had to keep activities and operations on. And thankfully, most of our industrial customers, particularly those in the food and beverage subsectors, had to be on to create the necessary food and essential commodities, even in a lockdown. So we've been on and we've seen significant capacities, close to 70% capacity, even in this period. But more directly, I think what we've done is to impact our immediate community by supporting the Lagos State government. We've offered 5,000 kg of oxygen to support Lagos State and their isolation centers. That's been our own direct contribution, but I think the larger will be the fact that we've kept industry, particularly essential industry, on at this time.
All right, but looking into the rest of the second half of this year, I'd like to know what your outlook is.
Well, I mean, we've seen a slight climb from the 60 to 70% capacity that I talked about. I think since the relaxation of the lockdown, a lot more has started to happen in all the markets. The regional markets has been on, very little dip in those areas. So our outlook for the rest of the year is positive. We think there will be some increase in the levels of activities that we saw in the first half. So we're a bit optimistic, and we hope it will be significant enough to still make our numbers where we budgeted and expected them.
All right, then thank you so much for your time.